What's up YouTube? This is going to be your guide on how to use Breloom in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'll be providing competitive movesets and some fun meme movesets too. If there's a Pokemon you'd like to see me cover, put it below in the comment section. If you enjoy these, they help you out, drop a like, and let's get into it. So I thought we'd cover different Pokemon today, some non-legendaries, mythicals. We're going to have a look at Breloom. So Breloom is a pretty decent Pokemon, and it's one of the few Pokemon that does get the move Spore too. So you might see it hanging around in some battles. Looking at its stats here, we've got a fat attack stat, 130 base. Everything else is kind of mid though, to be fair. Its speed is just average, and everything else is kind of average as well. But it does learn a lot of good moves that can make it a really good Pokemon in your team. Now, it's grass and fighting, so it's got a 4 times weakness to flying. And it's got 3 abilities. We got Effect Spore. So it has a 30% chance to poison, paralysis, or sleep. Which is probably, this is definitely its gimmicky ability. And then you've got its 2 main abilities, Poison, Heal, and you've got Technician as well. So most sets you'll find will run Technician, but I'll provide sets that run all of the abilities and stuff like that. Okay, so the first set I've got here is going to be a sweeping set, so a sword dance set, and also it can run choice band as well. So this is definitely going to work well in singles, right? So firstly, with sword dance, you've already got a really nice attack stat. It's got a great attack stat, and I'm going to be giving it max attack and max speed here, Jolly Nature, because you want to go as fast as possible. Now, since it does have its speed isn't really that good. It actually is very lucky because it gets Mach Punch, which is a fighting, stab fighting move. And it's also got priority as well. And it's also boosted by Technician. So this is going to have any moves 60 base power or less are going to get a 1.5 times power boost, right? So this move falls in there perfectly. Another great move is Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb is a great move for any flying type Pokemon. Great for that sort of thing. And it also has a 100% chance to drop the speed too. So a nice little bonus on top of that. Now, Bullet Seed it gets, which is a great move too. So with 4 hits, that's 100 base power, which is excellent. And it could be 125 if it does land 5 times. So loaded dice is going to be the item here on Breloom, and it works very, very well. Another one you can put on there. You can put Focus Sash on there. It's a bit more gimmicky, but you can do it. This guarantees you get a Sword Dance up, and you're able to get that up. Then you can always go Mach Punch afterwards. The only drawback to that is if the opponent's got, say, a Ghost type or something that resists fighting. So yeah, it's not a very bulky Pokemon in that sense. You could run Life Orb on there too. That's another option, just for some real big damage. That's definitely a good idea. Regardless what item you run there on the sweeping set, let's have a look at the Terra. So we got Terra Rock, which is a great defensive Terra on Breloom. Just for flying type Pokemon, really good. And fire types too, really good for that. Another one you could run on there is Fighting. Fighting's going to be super good, especially for Mach Punch, the bonus it gets. It's going to be hitting really hard, and you're going to be going first as well. So that's, excellent. And another one you could run on there, this would be more defensive, would be Steel. Steel would be good there against any flying type Pokemon, but it's bad that you're still weak to fire type moves. So I would suggest either Rock or Fighting. They'd be the 2 that I would suggest there. You could go Fire as well, but I feel like that opens you up to too many weaknesses. So that would be the 2 ones that I would suggest there for sure. Now, alternatively, you can run a Choice Band set, but I'm going to just sort of swap the moves up here. So obviously, we wouldn't have Sword Dance anymore. Now, you've got an option. You've got Bullet Seed or you've got Seed Bomb. Now, Seed Bomb is a fat 80 base power, right? So that's when you compare it to Bullet Seed. Bullet Seed is 25, right? Now, you're going to get a more powerful attack if you get the multiple hits, right? But if you only get 2 hits, it's only going to be 50 base power. And if you get 3 hits, it's going to be 75, right? Seed Bomb still beats it out on those ones there. So you need 4 hits or higher. Is it worth the risk? That's up to you. Do you like being able to hit multiple times? Do you like being able to get through substitutes and sturdies? You know, that's the question you sort of have to ask yourself there. But it is a luck-based sort of thing. That's why Seed Bomb can be good for that. Close combat as a fighting type move would be really, really good too. You could even double up on that if you wanted to, or just get rid of Mach Punch altogether. Another one that could have 2 aerial ace, I was just thinking, isn't a bad move. Because you get the full bonus of Technician on there too. So 60 base power. I'd be inclined to keep Rock Tomb on there. That's quite a good move. So I would keep Rock Tomb. Mach Punch isn't all that bad on a choice band set too, so you could double up with it if you wanted to, like get rid of aerial AC. So there's, that option to use there. Same sort of EVs and everything. I like Jolly on there because I find with Adamant, it just doesn't outspeed anything. There's almost no point putting EVs into speed then, in my opinion, unless you're relying totally on Mach Punch, right? So that's the first sort of set. Next set we got here is going to be similar, but we're going to make use of Poison Heal. Now, Poison Heal is very useful with Toxic Orb, right? So you can sort of make sets based around Facade. So Facade is a very powerful move, and you're not going to have the drawback of being hurt by poison, so eventually you die. So you got a nice 140 base power there with Facade, so double the 70 if you're burn, poison, or paralyzed. Sword Dance, Spore, excellent for putting them to sleep. So spore them, put them to sleep, Sword Dance up, spam Facade, or spam Drain Punch, recovery, right? You could replace Drain Punch with Mach Punch if you like, but I like Drain Punch on there because you got I like the synergy of Drain Punch, of healing yourself, and then Poison Heal as well. I kind of like that. It keeps it alive. Not that it's a super bulky Pokemon, but I just like that double healing. It could be quite good. And then Breloom might not be so easily picked off by another priority move there too. So that's another way of doing it. If you want to make it tanky though, you could opt for bulk up instead. This allows it to be a little bit more bulky, and then that's where the Poison Heal and the Drain Punch will come more into play there, because you'll be able to hit. You'll be able to, tank moves when you get hit a little bit better. It's not a real bulky Pokemon, though. I'm just thinking here, that's pretty good coverage. Now, obviously, you've got the ghost problem there. So you need to get rid of any ghost-type Pokemon. If you don't want Spore, if you just want to start setting up, I would have... You could just probably pop Seed Bomb onto there. Just pop Seed Bomb onto there if you're worried about ghost type. So there you go. That's an option. I just put Terra Normal on there. So Terra Normal Facade, it's going to hit like a truck. Yeah, Terra Normal on that set. I don't think I'd go with anything else. It just works really, really well. That would be my opinion there. Max Attack and Max Speed, Jolly Nature. All right, there's some single sets. Let's have a look at some doubles. All right, so a single set works a little bit differently. It's still a sweeper, and it mostly always will be a sweeper in terms of EVs too. But it does get a couple of little, a little bit of extra niches here, I would say. So one of the niches it does get, I went over already, is Spore, right? I like Focus Sash on Breloom in doubles. It is a good item for it because it's not bulky at all, and at least it does allow you to put a Pokemon to sleep. Now, it also gets Worry Seed, so obviously you wouldn't run these on the same set. I just wanted to show you there, so you could get rid of an ability like a powerful ability, or you could give this to your partner, say a Slaking or something like that, and get rid of its terrible ability and give it Worry Seed, so it can't be put to sleep. So that's another great way of doing that. If you don't want to run Worry Seed on there, obviously, like I said, you wouldn't run them on the same set. You could have Close Combat Seed Bomb, that's good coverage. And you could also have... Mind you, I'm running a Poison Heal set. Now, the reason I'm doing that is just for if I get poisoned. But you can run, of course, you can run Technician as well. You could put on there Mach Punch. Just for some priority. You could even change that to Technician if you felt like, you know, that wasn't needed. And then you could put Bullet Punch on there. I think that would be fine when I can spell. So yeah, Bullet Punch. So that could be just a coverage set with Spore, right? If you wanted to play around with Worry Seed, you could do that or get rid of opponents' like really powerful ability. That would be my my advice there. Terror Fighting, Mach Punch. Yeah, that's what I would do too. Just to get some, you know, if you get a Sword Dance up. If you could run Sword Dance on it too. I'm not saying you couldn't. You could go for that instead of Spore. But Spore's kind of nice. Getting rid of, you know, putting a Pokemon to sleep is always pretty good. Jolly Nature and Max Attack there. I'd run Jolly because you want to go as fast as possible. If you don't want to run Spore, you could put Protect on there. If you don't want to run Close Combat and the Mach Punch, you could put Protect on there as well for any Fake Out users getting rid of your Focus Ash and stuff like that. So that's an option for doubles. Next set we got here. This is more of a troll set, not going to lie, but it still has some use, right? So we got Terra Rock for Rock Tomb. We got Bullet Seed Technician, and we got Focus Punch. I had to mention Focus Punch on Breloom. I'm going to mention an old school set in my next one there. Maybe some of you play during that, you know, doing those times. But we've got a Bright Powder, a Bright Powder Focus Punch set, and we've got Protect on there as well. And we got a pretty good combination of moves. So we've got a really powerful Focus Punch. So the only problem with this, if it takes any damage, it loses its focus, right? So you might be able to trick the opponent with Protect, but go for Focus Punch instead, right? So say if you Protect, go for a move, then they'll think you Protect again, you can go for Focus Punch. And then you can get a really powerful attack on them. If you do predict wrong or they went for you anyway, you might have a slight chance of Bright Powder of actually dodging the attack, and then Focus Punch still follows through and does an incredible amount of damage, right, with, you know, Breloom's attack stats. So we've got similar sort of set there. Definitely a more gimmicky set for sure. Also, some of these Choice Band sets and other sets I mentioned, you can use in doubles too. I'm not saying they wouldn't work. I just want to give you some more options, right? So yeah, that's how I'd go. Terra Rock is always good because flying and fire, you're weak to both of those things. So another bit of a fun set. Have to mention this set. So this is a pretty old school set. This set has been around, like 4th gen days or earlier. Maybe some of you played, you know, the meta and stuff back then. So this is the old Subseed Punch set. So what it does, right, is you put the opponent to sleep, and then you can use substitutes. So hide behind the substitute with Poison Heal, and then Toxic Orb is healing you. And then you can go Focus Punch behind the sub. Tons of damage, right? And while you're healing, while they're asleep. You can also have Leech Seed healing you, as well as Poison Heal, as well as doing damage to the opponent. So it all works in really nicely. You could even be a real pain in the backside. Put like a Ghost type comes in, right? Just put them to sleep and use Leech Seed and use Substitute. So, you know, you can just wait behind there while your ally Pokemon does something, or, you know, stall them out a little bit. So Sweeping EVs on this one, and Jolly Nature. So Terra Fighting on that. But I just thought I'd give that a little bit of a mention because it was an old school set that was around a lot in the 4th gen days. You don't really get to see it much at all now. It's mainly it's gone. There are, you know, better options then. Focus Punch is a difficult move to, yeah, it's a difficult move to make use of there. But I just wanted to mention it. All right, I got a couple of PIMPNITE special sets today. Let's have a look at the first one, and then we'll edit this set, and we'll do another one. So this is a special Breloom, only on PIMPNITE's channel here. Also like to explore all options. So I would couple this with a Pokemon, say Torkoal with Drought, or Groudon with Drought, and we're going to be using Growth, right? Now, before I look at this set, you could use Growth as well on a double set, like a competitive one. That's another option too. If you had like a Torkoal, so you could use Growth and boost your attack. I just thought I'd put that one in there too. But you've got Sword Dance anyway, so there's probably no point. You know, unless you want to make them think you're a mixed set. But I just thought I mentioned that it does get growth. So growth is going to boost up its horrendous special attack of base 60. So, you know, to sky high levels. And then we got max speed. We need max speed because its speed is kind of garbo. So we got timid and max special attack. Growth and spore, so we can put them to sleep. Growth into our hardest intent. And then we can go for solar beam. And then we got Terra Blast Fire. That's the best coverage I can come up with. And of course, you know, say if they wake up from sleep, well, Effect Spore can put them back to sleep. So, an incredible set here. And of course, we got Miracle Seed as the item. We can boost up them grass type moves 1.2 times, and we can create a miracle by getting a sweep with this garbage set. Another set is a throwback from back in the day. Someone made this set up, and I want to show it to you. It was called Beam Loom, right? So it was Solar Beam and Hyper Beam. I'm trying to remember the set, but it was pretty good. They had Sunny Day on there. I don't know whether they had Spore or not, but they definitely had Sunny Day. No, yeah, they did have Spore. So we got Sunny Day, Spore, Solar Beam, and Hyper Beam. So we could roll on a Terra Normal, get that Silk Scarf. Beautiful stuff there. So Beam Loom is back with Solar Beam and Hyper Beam. I don't think it gets any other beam moves. No, it doesn't. So there you go. There was, to tell you the backstory there, someone made up a special Breloom once all the way back in, I think it was 6th generation. It was called Beam Loom, and it used Hyper Beam and Solar Beam. Brings back some fond memories. Anyway, let's have a look here at some good teammates and some counters for Breloom. I mean, it's not a very hard Pokemon to counter, so let's do that first. Flying type Pokemon. Oof. So a very nasty counter is Corviknight because, you know, grass is not very effective against it. It's quad resistant. Fighting is neutral against it, but it's got very good bulk, so I find a lot of the time it's going to be able to live that. And it can just dominate it with one flying move. So it's going to be very, very bad. A bad time for a Breloom against a Corviknight. Unless it's got something like Thunder Punch or Terra Electric. You know, something real, you know, gimmicky or hyper-specific like that. That's going to be a problem. Any flying types. There's a ton of flying. I'm not going to go over every single one of them. I mean, Charizard is a fire and flying type. The only saving grace for Breloom is Rock Tomb. We talked about Rock Tomb before. That's where you need Rock Tomb. Not that you're going to outspeed a Charizard anyway, but a Charizard, a Moltres, a Talonflame, completely destroy it, you know, unless you've got Terra Rock. Terra Rock is good for those sort of things. That's why I mentioned it. Okay. Poison types. What would be a good... something like Galar Slowbro. Ooh, you're not going to do much. That's a nasty counter. So Galar Slowbro is going to wall it every day of the week. And Pokemon like that, you know, poison types, you know, depending on what rules you're playing, that's going to be nasty. And any of those real tanky, bulky Terra Poison Pokemon too that are really bulky, you're not going to do anything to them at all. You're going to have to set up a lot of Sword Dancers. So they're great counters. Any fire types. I was just thinking of Typhlosion then. What about... I mean, there's a lot, right? Hisuian Typhlosion is nasty because you can't use any fighting moves on it. You can't use your grass moves on it. Man, that's a nasty counter. So Typhlosion Hisuian is a great counter. That's disgusting. Chandelure is another one as well. That's a good counter. Ghost and Fire. Little homie's going to struggle there for sure. Incineroar is a good one too. When I can actually spell. So Incineroar, that's a great counter. Plus Intimidate. Oof. You know, doubles. Great counter there. I mean, there's a ton of counters. Psychic types as well. There's heaps of them. You know, Calyrex, you know. Calyrex Shadow Rider is not affected by Mach Punch at all and can clap Breloom's cheeks, you know. So that would be very, very bad. So there's a ton of counters there. Really, really quite easy to counter. It doesn't really take it doesn't really take a rocket science for that one. I'm just thinking. Yeah, I've sort of like Skelly-Dirge. That's another one too. I was just thinking, there's another one, isn't there? So Fire and Ghost. You guys get the idea. Easy to counter, right? Not exactly the hardest Pokemon out there to counter. Now, some good teammates. So I think Gyarados is actually not a bad teammate for Breloom. So it's got its weaknesses, I know that. But I don't think they make a bad combination there, especially like a D-Dance Gyarados. I have done a Gyarados guide if you want to check that out. So that doesn't make a bad combination. It can resist those Fire-type moves. It can drop the attack on any of those incoming flying moves. And it can build Dragon Dances too. Or Breloom can just simply Spore them and then swap into Gyarados, and Gyarados could set up on them. And also... I was thinking, how about a Pokemon that really resists? I was thinking, we've got Steel, but Steel's also weak to fire, but we've also got Heatran. That's not a bad combo at all. So Heatran's got Flash Fire. The only thing has to worry about is a ground type move, but you can swap in Breloom for that. So Heatran's a good teammate as well. Definitely a good teammate, for sure, for a Breloom. There's quite a few good partners and stuff like that for it. But basically, this has to mainly worry about flying moves. Flying moves is a big one, and you can put it with steel type Pokemon like Goldengo wouldn't be bad either. For sure. That wouldn't be all that bad. So they are both weak to fire though. How about some more Flash Fire? How about I was gonna say Ceruledge isn't too bad either. You've got Arcanine Hiso, that's not too bad either. Or Armorogue's good because Armorogue resists fire and psychic. So that's good. That could depending on what sort of set you got, you might be able to set up with Armorogue. So that's not a bad one there too. There's probably like loads of them. Like I'm not going to be able to think of every single one of them right now, but I just thought I'd give you, a couple of options there to work with, for sure. Groudon's a good partner too, with Drought and stuff like that, and it can get rid of those fire type Pokemon, and it can also get rid of a lot of Pokemon in general. It's a very, very good. Very, very good partner. Indeedee wouldn't be all that bad too, but it would stop its psychic. The Mach Punch would get stopped a lot by its psychic terrain there. I'm just thinking of some other good ones. Maybe like Whimsicott. I know it's grass Pokemon, but Whimsicott could be useful maybe with Tailwind to make Breloom a lot faster and go first. But that applies to every Pokemon that has like mid to low speed there, right? Let's have a look let's go over all of its moves now. I think I've done a pretty thorough job on looking at it. All right, so we got setup moves here. We've got Bulk Up. Bulk Up was good on that Toxic Orb set, right? That worked pretty nicely for that. Leech Seed, we sort of went over that with that old Sub Punch set, or you could try. I could try it with Substitute. Protect. It does get... I don't know why you'd keep it Rest and Sleep Talk for, but maybe a meme set. It does get Sword Dance, which is great. It does get Toxic as well, so you could have that on there. It gets Fate. You might be able to run Fate Tears on a special set. That could be interesting, but you've got Growth anyway, so you probably wouldn't bother. Spore is unique to Breloom, and Worry Seed is unique to Breloom too. So, especially Worry Seed, but when you run them together, it's not going to be a good time there. So you probably pick Spore over it. Let's be real. Physical moves. It gets a lot of these. Its main sort of physical fighting moves. You've got Close Combat, Mach Punch, and Drain Punch, or Focus Punch set. Now it does get Gunk Shot. I never mentioned Gunk Shot and Poison Jab for Fairy type Pokemon. They can be good coverage moves. I'm not saying they're not. It's just hard to fit them on there. Now, it does get Rock Slide. You might be able to do some speedy set with Tailwind and Rock Slide Terra Rock. That could work. Seed Bomb. Seed Bomb and Bullet Seed, they're its main sort of grass moves. Whether you're running Choice Band or you're opting for Technician, they're the way to go. Thunder Punch isn't bad for any, well, in fact, Thunder Punch wouldn't be that great, really. Like, maybe, like, water-type Pokemon, or flying. Flying would be good. It would be good for flying. You might be able to do Terra, Electric, and Thunder Punch, so that's one way for flying, and also Rock Tomb or Rock Slide as well, so I guess that would be okay. Zen Headbutt might be a way to hit poison types there. Aero Ace is a 100% flying move. I don't know, that wouldn't help you too much there, but it's nice to have a powerful, you know, Technician boosted move. Bulldoze could be interesting there for a Technician and dropping speed. It does get counter. You might be able to go counter. On this set here, say you drop Protect, you could put counter on there, but I don't know why you'd want to use counter with such a fat attack stat, but maybe Surprise, that could work. Something like that. Where are we? It gets Dynamic Punch, but with its poor accuracy, it's not going to be that great. You might be able to run a Blunder Policy set or something like that. It gets Feint, which is pretty cool. Feint can nullify, detect, protect, and Quick Guard and Wide Guard, and that's also boosted by Technician, so that's interesting. It gets Force Palm. Nothing really amazing. It's kind of outclassed. It does get Reversal, so you might be able to use that on a Focus Sash set. Another option there. The only problem about Reversal on 1 HP, it's very slow, so it's going to get outsped. Unless you've got terrific support on it, or Follow Me Pokemon, you know? That's going to be, yeah, that's going to be about it. It's special set, not that you probably even care about this. We've got Energy Ball, Focus Blast, Giga Drain. It actually gets some alright moves there. Gets Sludge Bomb, which makes sense. You know, it is a poison. I guess it is a poisonous mushroom. Terra Blast, it gets that at least. I mean, all Pokemon mainly get that. It gets Mud Slap as well, and Venoshock. I don't know, you might be able to do like Toxic Spikes and Venoshock. That could be interesting off that amazing special tag. But anyway, that's about it for Breloom. Breloom, of course, is a very good Pokemon, and it's used a lot for its big attack stat and Spore. That's its main thing it's used for, and it's very, very, very good at doing a ton of damage real quick with Bullet Seed, and it can work very well with loaded dice for that, or Choice Band combinations. Overall, a good Pokemon. It lacks in speed, though. Its weakness is its speed stat, so always take advantage of that speed stat, and it doesn't have great bulk either. And it's got some big quad weaknesses, but still a very good Pokemon. Hope you guys enjoy this one. If you want to see me cover any Pokemon, please put them below in the comment section. If you like this, it helps you out. Drop a like, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.